They always come at night, and tonight, I was outside. Not because I was stupid, because the drop zone for the next safe compound was 2 miles west of the crash site. I'd run recon all day, avoided movement, waited for the sun to drop before making the dash. Then the engine in my bike seized. I heard the first one. That sound. A moan, a screech, gasping, desperate, like they're learning how to breathe again. Every time they find you. I grabbed my pack and sprinted into the trees. The sky was still bruised orange when I saw the first one standing by the edge of the clearing. Head tilted, arms limp, not moving, not chasing, just watching. That's how they do it. They wait until the light bleeds out of the world. Then they come. And when they run, when they finally move, they don't run like people. They snap forward. Every joint is wrong. Every step a fracture. I ran. Branches slashed my face. My boots slammed into tree roots and mud and broken asphalt. The compound was real, confirmed by satellite, radio pinged 3 days ago, still active. A solar-powered bunker, high fences, clean water, warm food, maybe even people. All I had to do was survive one more night. I made it to the overpass by midnight. Abandoned cars everywhere, twisted and rusted, perfect for hiding. I crouched under a minivan and listened. My heartbeat was a war drum. Then, I heard it. Footsteps. Slow now, dragging through leaves. Closer. I held my breath. Then, drip. Something warm hit the back of my neck. I looked up. One of them was crouched on top of the van, face upside down over the edge, drool spilling from its gaping mouth. Its eyes were white marbles, twitching side to side like it was tracking a sound I hadn't even made yet. I ran again. I don't remember how long. Time doesn't exist when you're being hunted. You just move or die. The woods thinned, the hills opened up, and then I saw it. A light, real light, a floodlight on a motion sensor, clicking on behind a tall steel gate. It was less than half a mile away. I cried, just for a second. Then I heard them behind me. Not one, not 5, dozens. That screeching as they drew closer. I was sprinting flat out when I hit the mud field. My boot got stuck. I pitched forward, hit the ground hard, both palms skinned, dislocated a finger. I screamed without meaning to. And that's when they all stopped. Behind me, just outside the trees, a line of them, silhouettes in the dark, still waiting. The closest one raised a hand and pointed, straight at me. I've never run faster in my life. My lungs tore at the air. My legs didn't belong to me anymore. The gate was ahead, 50 yards, 40, 30. I screamed into the night. Help, I'm alive. I didn't know if anyone was listening. I just screamed. I screamed my name until my throat bled. And then, just as I reached the concrete barrier, the floodlights shifted. They turned brighter. A voice crackled over a speaker. Don't stop, keep going. And the gate opened. I dove through, hit the ground, rolled, felt hands grab me. Human hands. They dragged me inside, slammed the gate shut. The infected slammed into the steel, their faces mashed against the fence, screeching, mouths stretching too wide, teeth cracking as they tried to fit their heads between the bars. But they didn't get in. I lay on the ground, hyperventilating, fingers twitching, the stink of blood and sweat in my nose. Someone knelt beside me. A woman. Real. Breathing. You made it, she whispered. "We heard your radio ping last night. We've been watching." I asked if we were safe. "As safe as anything gets now." She helped me up, walked me into the compound, and I wept, harder than I ever had, not from relief. That would come later. I wept because I had seen them, their numbers, their patience. I'd seen how close they got. I wept because the world out there wasn't just dead, it had changed. The monsters wore our faces. They waited in our streets, and they were learning. But I made it, and I swear this: no one else I hear screaming in the dark will go unanswered. I know what it means to be trapped outside, and I know what it means to be found. I used to fantasize about the apocalypse. Stocked gear, ran drills, watched all the survival shows. I thought when the world ended, I'd become someone else. Decisive, capable, unshakable. But when the infection came, when everything really fell apart, I didn't become a hero. I became quiet, small. A man-shaped shadow hiding behind locked doors and boarded windows. The virus didn't spread through bites. It was airborne at first, just a cough. People said it was another flu. It wasn't. It rewrote you. Turned your brain into raw wire and static. It made the infected see things, made them become things. I watched my neighbor Kevin eat his own fingers through the peephole, gnawed them down to the knuckle with a smile on his face. His eyes had gone jet black, not bloodshot, not rolled back, black, like someone had cored him out and filled the skull with ink. I never saw him die, just heard the wet sound stop. I blocked the door and didn't look again. I made it 22 days alone. No power, no fresh water, rationing dry rice and old peanut butter. I didn't make noise, didn't light fires, didn't even cry. They hear you when you do. Not with ears, with something else. Then on the 23rd day came the knock. 3 short taps. Knock, knock, knock. Not clawing, not frantic. Calm, intentional. My blood iced over. I didn't move. I held my breath so long my vision blurred. Then a voice. "Please, please help me." A young girl. She sounded ragged, terrified. "They're after me," she said. "They tore my mom apart. Please." It was the first voice I'd heard in over 3 weeks. "I'm begging you." I backed away from the door, bile rising in my throat. "It's a trick. Has to be." But she cried. She sobbed like her lungs were folding in on themselves. No performance could fake that. I unlatched the bolt. She collapsed into my arms, bloodied, trembling, her cheeks swollen purple. She smelled like smoke, rot and rain. She didn't say a word, just looked up at me with wide, hollow eyes and whispered, "Thank you." I sat her down, gave her water, wrapped her side with strips of my own shirt. She didn't flinch, didn't react. She just stared. When I asked her name, she blinked and said, "Jade." I wanted to ask more. I didn't. Something in me was afraid of the answers. Every time I closed my eyes that night, I imagined Kevin's black, vacant stare. But worse, I imagined her eyes, how they didn't blink enough, how she never asked questions, how her lips moved slightly when I wasn't speaking. At around 2 a.m., I heard chewing. Slow, deliberate, wet. I rose, crept out of the bedroom. The battery lamp was dim, barely enough to see by. She was crouched in the kitchen, her back to me, her jaw unhinged, twitching with every crunch. She wasn't eating food. She was eating the birds. Dead ones. I kept them in a sealed bag by the window caught in a trap days ago. She had torn them open, feathers and all, devouring bones like candy. Then she stopped, and without turning, she spoke. "You're a good man. You opened the door." My knees locked. My bladder let go. I didn't even feel it. She rose in one sudden jerk, like a puppet yanked upward by a wire threaded through her spine. Her head turned all the way around, bones cracking like snapping twigs until her face looked right at me, upside down. "Do you know how rare that is?" The voice rasped through torn flesh. I bolted. She didn't run. She twitched after me. I slammed the door behind me, hurtled down the stairwell barefoot, the cement tearing skin off my soles. Above me, I heard something crawl, fast, spasmodic, the way a spider might if it were stitched from meat and hatred. I didn't stop until I collapsed in an alley 3 blocks down. I hid in a dumpster for 12 hours. That was 2 weeks ago. I found a new building. High-rise, concrete, reinforced. I blocked the stairwell and broke the elevator cables. I don't make sound. I don't move during daylight, but they still find me. Every night I hear it. Knock, knock, knock. Always 3 times. Always soft. Always followed by a voice. Sometimes a man. Sometimes a child. Sometimes my mother's voice, even though she's been dead 5 years. "We know you're in there," they whisper. "Please, help me. You helped before. You can help again." I cover my ears. I scream into pillows. I write notes to myself. "Do not open the door." But I want to, because they don't sound like monsters. They sound like hope. And I'm starting to wonder if that's the point. They don't need to kill me. They just need me to believe. I was warm, safe, alive. That's more than most people can say these days. Our house was reinforced. Boarded windows, blackout curtains, steel-barred doors. It used to be a farmhouse. Now it was a fortress. Me, my wife Emily, and our son Josh. We survived the first wave, then the second. Through it all, we stayed inside. Never went out after sundown. Never spoke above a whisper. Never opened the door when the fog rolled in. We were ghosts in our own home. The fog, that was when they came. Every night, like clockwork. Thick, unnatural, reeking of mold and iron. It muffled sound, choked the air, and brought them. The things that used to be people. They weren't mindless. That's what scared me most. They listened. They waited. I thought we had everything we needed. I was sure of it. Until Josh's inhaler ran out. I didn't notice the last dose until it was already empty. He was sleeping. His breaths shallow, wheezing. He had asthma, bad. We'd rationed his medication for weeks. I thought we had a spare in the basement. We didn't. That left only one option. The clinic down the road. Maybe a 10-minute walk, 15 tops. I'd raided it once during the early days. There'd been drawers full of inhalers back then. Probably still some left. But it was already early evening, and the fog was already creeping up the tree line. Emily begged me to wait until morning, but Josh didn't have until morning. I grabbed the hatchet, my flashlight, a flare, and wrapped my scarf tight around my face. I told Emily to keep every door locked behind me, no matter what she heard. I told her I'd be back in 30 minutes. She kissed my forehead like she already knew I was lying. I stepped out into the fog. The silence outside was absolute. Not quiet, dead. Even my boots on the gravel felt too loud. I stuck to the tree line, keeping low, flashlight off. I knew the path by memory, even in the dark. The fog clung to my skin like sweat, thick enough to choke on. I could barely see 5 feet ahead. 3 minutes in, I heard it. Clicking. Faint. Wet. Then a voice. "Come back inside, it's cold," it whispered. It was Josh's voice. But it wasn't him. It echoed from the trees, raspy and stretched like a tape slowed down. I didn't look, didn't stop. That was the trick. They knew your people, knew just enough to break you. I kept moving. At the halfway point, I passed the old billboard. Its rusted frame creaked in the fog, and something scraped along the metal. Long, slow fingernails. I moved faster. My breath was loud in my mask. Too loud. Behind me, soft feet padded on gravel. Barefoot, slapping lightly. I didn't turn around. I reached the clinic at 8:02 p.m. The front door was already torn off. Inside was worse. Overturned chairs, dried blood, scattered supplies. I moved fast, ducked into the back, yanked open every cabinet. My hands were shaking so hard, I dropped 3 bottles. Then, jackpot. 2 sealed inhalers, still boxed. I stuffed them in my coat. Outside, something moaned. Not in pain, in anticipation. I killed my flashlight and crept toward the exit, heart hammering. Then I heard her. "Babe, come home." Emily's voice. Right outside the door. So close it brushed my ears. "Josh is waiting." I wanted to run, wanted to scream, but I knew that wasn't her. I backed away, and a face dropped down from the ceiling vent. Gray, slick, eyeless. It grinned at me. I bolted. Through the doorway, into the fog. Shapes moved all around, tall and thin, hunched and twitching. They didn't chase right away. They watched. Like they were deciding. I sprinted. Branches grabbed my coat. A hand swiped my back, nails cutting cloth. I hit the path and didn't stop. I could see our porch light ahead. Just a pinprick. "Josh is already dead," a voice called behind me. I almost believed it. The fog thinned as I reached the gate. I screamed once, loud and sharp. "Emily, open the door!" Silence, then a click. The floodlight snapped on. The front door opened an inch. I jumped through, slammed it shut, dropped the bolt, collapsed on the floor. My body shook so hard I thought my ribs would snap. Emily grabbed the inhalers, ran to Josh's room. I heard him coughing, then wheezing, then silence. Then a breath, and another. He was okay. It's 3 a.m. now. They're still out there, standing in the field, just beyond the fog line. Still waiting. I can see their shapes through the window, frozen in the floodlight. They don't need to knock anymore. They know what I'll do when it matters. I'll come out. I'll always come out. Because that's what love costs now. And one night, I might not make it back.